outer limits, it's the IGN Digigods. So please welcome two demons with a glass hand, Wade Major and Mark Kaiser.
Oh, yeah. Come on, Corey. Who's getting backed up by Purple Haze with that custom-provided intro this week? What fan?
That was written by Chevelle Dixon, who is now being sued by Harlan Ellison.
Wade's getting a kick out of that.
It just made me laugh. It all made me laugh. And as to why we backed up Chevelle with Purple Haze, that's actually Gary Moore from his new Blu-ray and CD releases of Blues for Jimi, where he pays tremendous tribute to Jimi Hendrix. And you know, you got to be a pretty damn good guitarist actually to say I'm going to pay homage to Jimi, because you have to actually measure up to Jimi if you're going to do that. You know, Jimi has to be able to approve from whatever gigantic rock jam in the sky he's looking down from.
Well, that's the thing. You realize that Blues for Jimi Live in London was his final album. And so it is a fitting tribute.
Yes.
I guess we're now officially talking about this?
Yeah, well, might as well. It's they were nice enough to send us the CD and the Blu-ray.
Yeah, it's good-looking stuff. The concert was in 2007. Around this time, actually, 2007. And it's got all sorts of great Jimi Hendrix covers on it. Purple Haze, Manic Depression, Foxy Lady, Wind Cries Mary, Hey Joe, one of my all-time favorite songs, Voodoo Child. So it's great. Gary Moore was a great blues guitarist. And
awesome.
The Blu-ray also features a couple of members of the Jimi Hendrix Experience.
Yep.
Mitch Mitchell and Billy Cox. So they're on there, too. So this is great stuff. Gary Moore, Blues for Jimi. This was Gary Moore's last album. And it is a fitting send-off to a great guitarist who's kind of overlooked, actually, I have to say.
I agree. Really one of the... all the great names that are bandied around, and his is usually never mentioned in the same breath as others. But I will say this. We debated before the show whether or not we were going to kind of throw up Foxy Lady or Purple Haze, and Apocalypse Now won out over Wayne's World. So
that's because nobody cares about Wayne's World anymore. Although, you know, what's his name? Mike Myers, I guess, is doing a new Austin Powers.
I know. What else has he got?
Well, he's got nothing.
What's he going to do, The Guru 2?
No.
Come on.
How about something that's not a sequel? He could always do that.
You know what? He tried Sprockets, and he pulled the plug himself on that because it wasn't working, according to him. I mean,
yeah, he's a weird guy. He pulls the plug on Sprockets, even though whoever has spent millions of dollars, and then he makes DreamWorks re-record all of his voice work for Shrek because he wants to give it like a Scottish accent.
It's so bizarre.
It's just bizarre. He seems like a funny guy, but he's probably difficult to work with.
Yeah,
and I have no firsthand knowledge of that.
I don't know.
But he seems like a perfectionist who might be difficult to work with.
Well, we've also, as long as we're talking about music, got another music title this week, which is just awesome, I got to say. And I say this with all due bias. This is also from Eagle Vision. Freddie Mercury, The Great Pretender, on Blu-ray. I am such a huge Freddie Mercury fan. I think his loss is just so tragic. That guy just had one of the all-time most unbelievable voices, one of the great rock and roll voices of all time. You know, whatever it was, 16, 17, 18 octaves, who knows? It was something astronomical.
18 octaves.
Can you imagine?
It's like 150 notes, individual notes.
It makes dogs bleed from their eye sockets. But anyway, this is really, really incredibly well put together. It's 107 minutes long total, and it is just it's like the complete and comprehensive look at Freddie Mercury and his history with Queen. And it's really, really good. There's so much material here, stuff that you've never seen before, will probably never see again. And it's on Blu-ray, and it's really well mastered, and Eagle just did a fantastic job with it. So if you're even remotely a Freddie Mercury fan or a Queen fan, you'll just dig this to all ends of the earth.
Well look, of all the things that have been said about Freddie Mercury, let me just add that he was a great live performer.
Yep.
He was great. He was very theatrical, and he gave a great show, and he would play stadiums, and he would play to the entire crowd.
Yeah.
And he had a Bruce Springsteen-esque way to make big stadium concerts feel small.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's really true, and you totally get that watching this. You just completely understand that he's a total performer, and it's still such a huge loss. Because if he were still alive, Queen would still be just packing stadiums. You know that.
I don't know, man. I hope not.
Oh yeah.
You know what it's like if Jimi Hendrix was alive. If Jimi Hendrix was still alive, or Kurt Cobain. Kurt Cobain would probably be
if Jimi
just fat.
If Jimmy and Kurt were alive, they would both be like trading like shots down on Skid Row or something.
Well, who would Jimmy be? Would Jimmy be like B.B. King?
Jimmy'd be a junkie. He'd be a junkie. He'd be like B.B. King. Yeah.
Or no, but like B.B. King, who opens up his own blues clubs and still plays the blues.
Maybe.
And people still love him and revere him, even though he's a bit of a corporation now, B.B. King.
Maybe.
But I don't know. Would Jimmy have been active? Would he have kept up his musical integrity? I don't know. Like John Lennon.
We have some housekeeping to take care of at the top of the show.
Oh, wait, do you want food first?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Go get food. I'll do the housekeeping.
Now, here's the thing. Now,
Yes.
I've been taking this 8-week baking course, and it was week 2 last week.
Yeah.
You come home with so much baked crap. It is just Tupperware. I could fill up a Bed Bath & Beyond. All the Tupperware they sell there with all the crap you got to make in 4 hours. And
wow.
And so I'll give you something that I made at the class, and I'm also going to show you what they gave me.
Oh.
Very exciting.
Ooh.
I'm going to.
Door prizes?
No. This is the douchiest thing. There's no way I'm going to actually wear this in public, but they give it to you as part of the class. And in fact, when I walk out with your treat of the week, by the way, you made me nothing.
Of course not.
I make you something every week.
Thank you.
When I walk out with the treat of the week, I'll walk out with this thing. And then, so I'm going to go get that.
You go get that.
And you do the housekeeping.
I'll do the housekeeping.
Excuse me.
As of this recording, the podcast from last week still cuts off at 37 minutes. Some of you emailed us about it. Some complained on the Facebook page about it. We have no control over it. There are a few glitchy things going on with IGN these days. IGN is switching servers and implementing a new CMS system and or whatever they call it. And there's a whole bunch of tech stuff going on. Basically, a lot of IT guys and a lot of engineers are doing things that we don't really understand, that we're not made to understand. So that's causing a little bit of a hiccup in the way that some of the information on the IGN site is presented and updated and maintained. So you're probably seeing a few glitchy things even outside of the podcast. I know it's affected a rather large part of IGN's website. It is temporary. It will go away as soon as they iron out all the kinks, and everything will be much smoother and more efficient going forward. So please bear with us through this transition. We, again, have no control over it. We don't really understand it, but we're just sitting down, and hopefully, we're all in the same place.
All right,
and
you ready?
What?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. You ready?
Okay.
Tell the people what you see.
I see something that looks like a piece of chocolate.
What am I wearing?
What the hell is that? You're wearing some kind of Chinese chef's happy jacket thing with those little Chinese knot buttons.
Yes.
What the hell is that?
As part of your tuition or whatever they call it, the fee for this class, they give you a chef's jacket.
Oh well, that's a bargain because you paid like what $5,000 for this,
exactly.
and that's worth about $1.20.
Exactly.
What?
Now they give you a chef's jacket.
I would have given you that if you just made me some food.
And so they say, oh, here your chef jackets are here, and I'm the only guy in this class. It's all women.
Okay, that's why.
And all the women are putting on their
now
chef's
it's all
jacket.
Clear. Now it's
they're
all
all
immensely
married
clear.
And kids and whatever.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that at the time. You know what? I'd like to sign up for the all-women one. Is that possible? Anyway, so all the women are putting on their chef's jackets, and I'm saying, first of all, this is the douchiest thing you could ever wear, a chef's jacket. I mean, I have not even remotely earned my stripes to wear a chef's jacket. I want the apron that says, kiss the cook or something, or something just totally, or Hello Kitty on the chef's on the apron. Okay, that's what I deserve. There's no way. Like, why would I overinflate my skills as a baker by wearing a chef's jacket?
Yeah, okay.
It is really the worst.
Okay.
So I'm just wearing this for you.
Okay.
I don't even own an apron.
What am I eating
This
right
is
now?
a lemon poppy seed cake.
Oh, very nice.
There you go.
Oh, very nice.
So Wade, you told everybody what's going on with the podcast.
Yes, I did.
Okay, good.
Yes, I did.
Just making sure.
And and the one other thing I was going to make mention of before I unleash you on documentary syndrome. What?
Well, which documentaries am I talking about? Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I was wondering what those were.
there was one other bit of housekeeping, which is that some people have been wondering why we didn't cover the Avengers last week. The big release of the week. The big Blu-ray release of the week. Oh my gosh, the Avengers. Biggest Disney film in history. Made $2 billion. Where's the Avengers? Marvel didn't approve us. In fact, Marvel apparently didn't approve us. They didn't approve High Def Digest. They didn't approve Blu-ray.com. I think even the digital bits may have gotten squashed out. I'd have to check up on that. But some of these people have just gone out and bought their own. And basically, Marvel has an unbelievable amount of autonomy within Disney. I emailed the Disney publicists to explain to us why suddenly the movie that has made $2 billion feels like their budget is so crimped that they can't afford to actually send review copies out. Yeah, it was a very constrained list. Yeah, why? It made $2 billion.
Because they don't need us.
Well, look, I mean, yeah, they do. You know what I mean? It's like, well, does it really, really crimp their style? Is this just, I mean, suddenly why? Why get stingy and cheap? Nobody else gets stingy and cheap when their movies are successful. You know, we got 2 different versions of Avatar. We got umpteen versions of Titanic. Give me a break.
You know
this is nonsense.
Well,
and they didn't get back to me as to the why. The people at Marvel are the ones who really have to answer for this, and I'm still waiting for an answer.
You CC'd me on those emails.
Yeah.
And I have to say that Wade was getting about as medieval as Wade gets on these emails to big corporations. What are you doing?
I'm tearing it out of the little paper thing because
I understand.
You know.
By the way, those.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. The movie's made an ungodly amount of money. If you're look, Twilight Time and Olive Films send us Blu-rays, and those are small companies. I mean, they really don't have a lot of stock to afford. But you know what? We do right by them. And Disney suddenly can't send us the Avengers? Are you kidding me?
Because they figure that nobody is not going to buy, or nobody is going to buy, the Blu-ray based on what a DVD podcast says. The thing is that we are a DVD podcast that is well respected. A lot of people listen to it. It's for IGN, which is an enormous corporation. I can see them not sending it to, dudeinsbasement.com.
Yeah.
I get that. But Digital Bits, very well respected.
I know.
They should have it. We should have it. But Marvel, for some reason, is they're just not into it, and it really upsets us. And because we can't give you the information you need to go buy the Blu-ray.
Well, screw them.
So
they haven't gotten back to me yet. If they get back to me with a decent explanation, I'll take it all back and explain it next week. But for now, we're not happy with Marvel because they're being stingy and miserly and very Scrooge-like.
All right, who cares?
You know what? It's good. It's moist. It's lemony. It's very poppy seedy. Nice little, very thin, delicate icing on top. Very nice.
Yeah, it's got the glaze going and everything. All right, Wade.
Very nice.
Thank you very much. All right, we got a whole slew of PBS documentaries to talk about. Some of these are sports-related, some are historical, but they're all, of course, PBS, so they're very good. We have 2 sports ones to discuss. One is called Golf the Inner Game, and the other one is called Tennis the Inner Game. These are both hosted by the same guy, Tim Galway. And, the Inner Game series is a very specific kind of like method of kind of mentoring or coaching or kind of removing roadblocks, removing mental obstacles that keep people from doing better at the sport of their choice. Now, something like golf, that's obviously very important. Golf is all about, people obsess over golf. The reason why the reason why I don't golf and I can't be around golfers is because all they talk about is golfing.
I know.
I mean, literally.
I know people who travel the world, but the only places they ever go to are golf courses. Like, they will go to Dubai to play golf, and then they will go to Fiji to play golf.
You know what they do in Dubai?
And then they'll go to Scotland to play golf.
No, well, Scotland is beautiful. I've been there. It's great. But
are you planning on going to Japan? Yeah, not really any great golf courses there. Well, so what? Go to Italy. Go to Rome. Nah, no golf courses in Rome.
You know what they do in Dubai? Since now they may not do this anymore, but at the time when Dubai was first kind of exploding, now you're thinking golf in Dubai, place is a gigantic desert. How does that happen? Yeah. Well, you know what they do? They give you your clubs, and they give you the golf ball, and then they give you a little patch of grass. Maybe it's like a foot by a foot by a foot. I mean, it's like 4 square feet or something. It's like nothing. It's like pocket. You just carry it around with you, and you take that square of grass all around the course, which is otherwise sand, and that's how you play golf in Dubai. Anyway, golf the inner game, tennis the inner game is the other one. They're both very good, especially if you're into golfing. That's good stuff. So it's part of that inner game series. We also have from PBS Heartbreak. It's interesting. We haven't talked a lot about Native Americans on the show because there's very few Native American films, very few Native American documentaries.
True.
No Native American music hits the mainstream ever. But here you got an interesting documentary called Up Heartbreak Hill from PBS, which is all about these teenage Native Americans in Navajo, New Mexico. And, they aspire to the same things we do. One wants to be a photographer, and one's very good at school, and it's a different kind of school. It's like a reservation high school. Mm-hmm. And they do get into the fact that in these reservations and in the Native American community, there's a huge poverty rate. The per capita income is like nothing. It's like less than like $10,000 a year on average. And they have, some of these kids have very little prospects. And they talk about a little bit, kind of wish they talked about it more, but they talk a little bit about, why the Native American community insists, after all these decades, of still being separated from
Doesn't make sense to me.
the regular mainstream culture.
Doesn't make sense to me. It's like you've created a prison unto yourself.
It really is bizarre.
Yeah.
So, Up Heartbreak Hill is fascinating from that perspective, in that it introduces you to a culture that was right under your nose, and they're just as American, if not more American than we are.
Yep.
And yet, no one really knows about them. So, Up Heartbreak Hill is a good one.
Cool. All right, Mark. Here, I'm going to blow through a bunch of these. Watch how quickly.
I wasn't going fast enough for you, Wade?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
No.
Wow.
We got TV, we got movies, we got classics, we got too much to go through. So I'm gonna blow through a bunch of these because you can do it quickly and do them justice. Guilty Pleasures is also a PBS release. You know what? This is if you've ever read a romance novel, and Mark, you have, haven't you?
Harlequin.
Yeah.
Fabio
right.
used to be a cover model for Harlequin romance.
That's right. Well, anyway, the Guilty Pleasures is basically a documentary about the extraordinarily strange relationship that people have with romance novels and the whole romance novel industry, and the people who are part of the industry. And it's interesting and creepy all at the same time. It's only 86 minutes. It is obviously a very narrow audience for this, but if you know anybody who's sort of obsessed with these things, you might want to point them in this direction. The Barnes Collection, we got a couple of things to deal with art this week, and the Barnes Collection is about Albert C. Barnes, who has this extraordinary art collection in Philadelphia, and it's all about a personal love and passion for art, and it's really extraordinary because you think that a lot of these great paintings, some of the greatest paintings in history, are all in museums. A lot of them are in private collections, and this guy has most of the Cézannes in the world, believe it or not.
Why is he not sharing with the museums of the world, Wade? Why is he so selfish?
Now where he's getting it, because there's a brand new Barnes building in Center City, Philadelphia, and so this is just it's as interesting for the art as it is for the man himself. And then we got a thing here called From Dust to Dreams, which is about the performing arts, opening night at the Smith Center for the Performing Arts. Neil Patrick Harris hosts this, and it's wonderful. Neil Patrick Harris himself is worth buying anything. And this is just absolutely fabulous. It's just a wonderful concert that includes a lot of fantastic people. And you don't even need to know what the Smith Center for the Performing Arts is or where it is or why it is. Don't worry about it. You get your Jennifer Hudson and your John Fogerty.
You got your basic John Fogerty. You got your basic Jennifer Hudson.
Benjamin Walker, Laura Owens, Sherry Renee Scott, Montego Glover. It's just a wonderful, wonderful performing arts evening. Pretend like you're wearing a tuxedo in your living room. You'll love it. Brad Pitt hosts Intervention Architecture E2. Brad Pitt's really big on Habitat for Humanity, and he goes and volunteers and builds a lot of these green habitats for homes for people and stuff like that.
Yeah, good for him.
He did that after Katrina and all that. So he narrates this, and this is all about 5 different projects that essentially won this award called the Aga Khan Award. And it's given for places, for architecture that essentially is very green and sustainable and energy efficient and all that stuff. And it's interesting because there are very, very high standards for this. And, it's innovative. Even though I'm not really keen on living in, cardboard boxes and things that just, channel electricity through feng shui in a little pinhole in a ceiling, some of this stuff is really nice. I mean, you wouldn't even know that it's ecologically advantageous. It's just like great architecture unto itself. And then a little bit on the nature side, Alaska Gold, A War of Resources, the fish or the mine. This is a Frontline documentary, and the Bristol Bay area is in Alaska is really kind of there's a battle going on there between open pit mines and the salmon industry. And it kind of is a microcosm of a similar battle that's going on everywhere in the world in a lot of these places, where you have one industry that's all about mining or metals or something else or precious earths, versus fishing or tourism or whatever the case is. So it's a lot of these places are being forced to choose. Orangutan Diaries is about these disgustingly ugly simians that I really just don't appreciate at all. I think they're like the ape that went wrong. They're like they're ginger apes. I don't know. They're red-haired and they're strange, and they're not quite. They're not as cool as gorillas, and they're not as cute as chimps. They're just ugly. They're orangutans. Anyway, this is 4 hours.
It's not orangutan. People used to say orangutan. Now they say orangutan.
It's orangutan.
But
it's not orangutan. Because tang as a drink is also orange.
No, but look, people used to call it orangutans. Tell me you didn't spend your whole life calling it an orangutan.
I didn't.
You spent your life calling it orangutan.
Yes, because they're tan. Yeah,
I'm done. I'm done with you.
Anyway, this is way too much information. Frankly, very well done, very nice. And I understand they're endangered species, but I still find them ugly. Endgame: AIDS in Black America. This is another Frontline documentary. This is absolutely superb. We tend to think that AIDS is on the wane and we've conquered it and people are managing life with AIDS, and actually it's still a crisis in the black community. And that's all what this is about. This is a 2-hour doc that talks about the devastation that AIDS has had as a disease on the black community, and what the future holds. Very, very well done, as are all Frontline docs. And then we've got An American Experience, which is also very, very good. Those are right up there with Frontline. This is Death and the Civil War. This is directed by Rick Burns, brother of Ken Burns, who's, he's sort of like...
Shecky Burns?
Shecky Burns. Rick Burns does a lot of docs as well, not on the grand scale.
He's the Hall to Ken Burns' Oates. He's the Garfunkel to Ken Burns' Simon.
That's it, exactly. And this is 2 hours basically looking at the. This is really kind of an existential doc in a way. It's based on a book called "This Republic of Suffering," and it's essentially about how war, particularly the Civil War, changed the mindset and the mentality and the culture of America in terms of dealing with not just death, but just catastrophic, massive death, where every family was touched. And if you think, you realize as a percentage of the population of the country at the time, between the North and the South, the number of deaths, not just casualties, the number of people killed during the Civil War, if we were to have a Civil War today, the same percentage of the population today would mean over 30 million people killed in a war. Like a domestic war, like between, let's say everybody in the West goes to war with everybody in the East. Like the Lakers they beat the Celtics, and everybody east of the Mississippi just goes nuts. Then suddenly we have a civil war, and 30 million people die.
Well, obviously,
it's huge.
Yes, because both sides were American.
Yeah.
It's not like World War II or World War One. Both sides, every single person who died in that war was an American.
Massive, devastating. All right, Mark, talk about some TV. I'm going to take some more bites here.
Before we talk about TV, I want to make sure that our listeners know that the Alfred Hitchcock Masterpiece Collection release, the Blu-ray that's supposed to come out, was supposed to come out September 25th, is now coming out October 30th. Now,
just in time for Halloween.
Universal says they're postponing it because, quote, certain imperfections with the product have come to light, and as a result, we are delaying the release date to correct these points. We don't know what the problems were. All I know is that this is a must-buy. Must.
When does the Anthony Hopkins movie come out?
Oh, Hitchcock.
Yeah, when does that come out?
It's coming out this year.
Yeah.
Now, have you seen the teaser poster?
I have. It's kind of freaky.
I don't know what to make of that.
You know what it looks like?
What?
It looks like somebody took Anthony Hopkins and put Hitchcock makeup on him. That's what it looks like. I'm serious.
Well, you know why that is? Because somebody took Anthony Hopkins and put Hitchcock
makeup on him. Yeah, I know.
All right. By the way, folks, don't forget October 9th is Prometheus. That's coming out. God, everyone loves them some Prometheus. Well, not really. Also, December 4th, Dark Knight Rises. Now, the thing with The Dark Knight Rises is that what I'll probably wind up doing is I'll probably, on the same day, Warner will release the Dark Knight trilogy, which will have Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. And in 2013, they're going to come out with a Dark Knight trilogy Ultimate Collector's Edition. Yep. I don't know what that has on it. I just want the movies. And I'm hoping that they use the same transfer that they use for the trilogy for the Ultimate Collector's Edition trilogy because I don't want to have to buy it twice. But mark on your calendars December 4th for the Dark Knight trilogy. I will definitely be getting that. And also, when Wade walked in the door today, I said, Wade, did you hear? Blu-ray, December 11th, Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy.
And my reaction was, yeah, no. And I'm not, well, anyway, it'll be fine, I'm sure.
Wade, it's Dick Tracy. You love that film.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. I like Al Pacino in it.
He was the best thing in it.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't do a lot of stuff that's very good anymore. All right, let's do a little bit of TV. We have Touched by an Angel season 6. This is a show that only just the most people who cry at greeting cards and TV commercials love Touched by an Angel. This is one of those like CBS shows where CBS was trying to appeal to like people who are 80 and over. And I you know what? They're obviously releasing this very slowly on DVD. Probably because nobody cares, and now that they've already done the first 5 seasons, you might as well just keep going. And Touched by an Angel in this season, the angel, she gets murdered way.
No kidding, are you serious?
And then the cast of CSI, also a CBS show, David Caruso, they come on the show and try to assess who murdered the angel from Touched by an Angel.
That's pretty awesome, actually.
As it turns out, suicide.
Now I want to watch.
Who knew? Anyway, Spartacus Vengeance is a Starz show, and it is on Blu-ray now. And I do like these. I do like some of these Starz shows because they're really well shot, I have to say. And this is a New Zealand production, which, of course, if it's a New Zealand production, which already means it is better than a Canadian production. Just putting it out there. Now, the big deal
We're going to get emails on that one. Okay.
And by the way, gods at Digigods.com.
Totally.
Spartacus in this season is played by Liam McIntyre. Now, Liam McIntyre replaced Andy Whitfield, who died about a year ago. So they had to recast the role, and I think he's completely fine. He's handsome. He's got a lot of muscles, and he speaks the Roman like a pro. Anyway, Anchor Bay came out with this, so you know it's good stuff. It's got a lot of bonus features, including the making of, behind the camera, interview with Liam McIntyre, stuff on the special effects, bloopers. It's always fun seeing like people dressed like in like swords and togas, being all serious, like bust up. Anyway, so this is a pretty good show. I don't know that that the Starz stuff has the acclaim of some of the HBO stuff, or even the Showtime stuff, but. Starz, these are the shows that get networks like Starz on the map more than whatever movies they show. Rawhide, which is the Clint Eastwood TV show from way back when. This is in a very poorly bundled two DVD pack. Volume 1, the 5th season, and Volume 2, the 5th season.
As long as they keep releasing them and the same thing. And by the way, the only reason this is being released now is because Clint has a movie out and because he did the empty chair thing at the RNC. That's the only reason.
Well, the movie, Trouble with the Curve, did not do very well.
It's fine, though. It'll do okay.
I liked it.
It'll do fine. It doesn't need to open at number 1 in order to make money.
If it's got a little bit of legs and if it makes a few million, you know what? Hopefully that's the type of movie, especially now that we're getting into the playoffs and the World Series, the baseball season, it may be able to play in theaters a little longer than most films of that type would normally play in theaters. So, anyway, Rawhide, it's a good show. It was like the thing ran for like over 7 years. It was one of the longest-running TV westerns, and it's good stuff. Clint Eastwood looks so young, and Clint Eastwood now looks exactly the same, except more wrinkles. Like when you look at William Shatner looks like a big, fat, bloated Hindenburg-esque version of himself.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Whereas Eastwood looks exactly the same, except
true.
with just wrinkles.
True, very true.
He's awesome.
I agree. And we've got some great TV on Blu-ray here. This one is a Starz series as well. And, it's funny. The Starz stuff kind of goes right off of my radar. I don't pay attention to it until it gets to us on Blu-ray and DVD. But Magic City, the complete first season, this is not a bad show, actually. And this is getting up there into Showtime and HBO territory a little bit. This takes place in 1959. It's all about the whole Miami hotel, casino, mobster hipster scene. It's sort of like Miami in 1959, a little bit of a kind of a Vegas of the Southeast. And 1959 is a really pivotal year. That's when Castro takes Havana, and the Cuban Revolution takes place, and you've got the Kennedys, and you've got all these interesting political machinations going on, a lot of social change. It's a big deal, and it's a really nicely put together show. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, just it basically plays kind of a facsimile of Sinatra in a way. Just the coolest chief of this rat pack that they've assembled for this show, which oddly enough also includes Danny Houston in a role that I do not find objectionable. Mark, I don't think got a look at this, but you know what? Danny Houston it's like he's made to be for this all of a sudden. It's like it's a role that I just don't despise him in. And then we've also got Downton Abbey, seasons 1 and 2, limited edition on Blu-ray from PBS. Now, this has already been out both seasons in Blu-ray, and the third season, of course, has just begun in the UK. It's not going to be aired here on PBS until January, which is really frustrating because now all the twists and turns are going to be known, and if you're a Downton Abbey fan, as I am, and you're living in the United States, you've just got to kind of plug your ears and hope that your friends in the UK don't tell you what just happened. But Downton Abbey was nominated for gobs of Emmys, and its profile has never been higher. And Maggie Smith walked away with an Emmy. Thank goodness. She totally deserved it. And if you already have it on Blu-ray, there's really no reason to get this other than the fact that it's all in one package. It's nice and slim. And, you're forgetting the fact that, after next season, there will be another single edition that will include the first 3 seasons. So get this only if you don't have the first 2 already. If you have them, just hang on to them. There's nothing particularly different about this. It's just different packaging, but still really worth having if you haven't bought it. And then we also have, fresh off of a great Emmy win for Kevin Costner, Hatfields and McCoys. This is the original uncut version with Bill Paxton and Kevin Costner playing the
Who plays Bones?
Bones?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
McCoy. Yeah.
Anyway,
which one plays Bones?
There was a Christian Slater thing on the Hatfields and McCoys that was a cheap deal, quick-to-DVD thing from a few months ago. Not very good. This actually is really, really sharp, very professional. Nice work by Kevin Costner as a producer, and it was a hit on television. It looks terrific on Blu-ray. Excellent work by Sony, and it's funny because they had to shoot this in Europe. You know that.
I did not know that.
They had to shoot this in Eastern Europe because you can't shoot. It's too expensive now to shoot Westerns in America. I mean, what have we come to? Seriously, that's just a disgrace.
Well, of course, look, our good friend Zach Weintraub, his father opened up a studio in Vilnius, Lithuania, which I went to visit.
I know.
And the thing is that you can hire local Vilnius talent for like $10 a day. And $10 a day to them is like a king's ransom.
I know.
And you get all this local talent. And
wow.
His father helped build up the studio into a powerhouse in Eastern Europe that still runs to this day, and it's just very cheap. And at the studio in Vilnius, what they tend to shoot there is a lot of medieval stuff, because there's something about those Eastern European forests that just look a little otherworldly, and it's great stuff. Anyway, all right, let's keep going with TV. Roseanne, complete 5th and 6th season.
Now,
yes.
I only include this today because, again, she's your pal, and I
haven't talked to her in like 5 years.
But she's your pal, and because she is on the ballot for president of the United States. You do realize this. Roseanne will appear in a number of states, probably also here in California. We're going to pull it out, and there's going to be Barack Obama and Mitt Romney. Roseanne Barr.
What
the?
You know what?
She's the official nominee of the Peace and Freedom Party. How did that happen?
I don't know. We have to remember, and we always forget this, that when you cast your ballot for president, it's never just like, George W. Bush versus Barack Obama. There's always like 6 people on that presidential ballot.
Yes.
It's always from like the Libertarian Party or from the Green Party. And
I'm just waiting for that year when some computer screws up somewhere and we wind up, and the winner of all 50 states is George Herman Flocker? What? Who is he? And we wind up having just some mistake, and it's irreversible, and we wind up having some lunatic for president.
Even worse.
Couldn't be worse, right? Than the people we typically elect over the course of our 200-year some odd history.
Exactly.
It really seems to just be the same.
By the way, the Academy, the Motion Picture Academy, they're going to use computerized experiment with online voting.
Disaster.
You think?
Yeah.
Will someone go something's
going to go wrong. I'm telling you, something will go wrong. Always does.
Speaking of wrong, the first season of Hart of Dixie is available on DVD, not Blu-ray. I don't know why they keep doing this. This is a CW show of the type that you always see. It's a high-powered big city person has some mental breakdown, and they wind up in a small town, and it turns their life around. And it's like a dime a dozen. I actually had a show that I wanted to pitch like years ago.
It's basically Northern Exposure.
Yes, I had a show I wanted to pitch years ago. It was called Public Access.
Yeah,
it was a show about this big city, station manager, whatever, WCBS or something, has a mental breakdown, and he goes to his hometown. He goes back to his hometown to run his hometown public access station.
Okay.
Now this is back when there was public access. So not only would you get the comedy inherent in a very, very old idea being resurrected again, the big city person breaking down, going back to their hometown, but you also get, these hilarious snippets of these crazy, wacky public access personalities that we kind of grew up on. Now, you don't really see that anymore, so the idea really kind of doesn't work, but that won't stop me from dreaming of someday seeing it on TV.
There you go.
Anyway, Hart of Dixie co-stars Rachel Bilson, who was from the OC, and, this is just one of those shows, just another CW show. You know what? On the CW, the ugliest person on the CW has a body fat of 5%. That's how you know you're the ugly one on a CW show. Your body fat is 5%. Complete season 7 of How I Met Your Mother. This thing has just kept going.
I know. It's one of those shows.
What is the deal with this show?
I
don't know. You know what? I don't know. It was funny, too, because when the show first started, people were like, well, it's like The Office. How many seasons will it be until you find out how the damn kid met his damn mother? Enough already. But it's like, it's been 7 years. Haven't you met already?
Yeah, well,
can you just meet and have sex and just end the show?
I don't think it's about that anymore.
Not about that.
No.
It's about the resurrection of Neil Patrick Harris's
career. That's what it is. It's all about NPH.
NPH. Anyway, 23 episodes. There's also a season finale that's double the time. And if you love the show, who might have stopped you? Deleted scenes, gag reel, and there's a featurette on the writers, which I thought was interesting. It's always interesting to go into the writers' room. But otherwise, it's How I Met Your Mother.
Complete first season of The New Girl. I am so thrilled for Zooey Deschanel. She got an Emmy nomination for this. This is finally career stability for her. She should be bigger in features, but it's a hit show. It's a hit TV series, and it's really anchored her as a celebrity and put her kind of in the spotlight where she belongs. And I've always been a big fan of Zooey. I think she's just adorable, and this show is perfectly tuned to her talents and her quirkiness. And essentially what this is Three's Company in reverse plus one. So instead of, a guy who moves in with two women, it's about a girl who moves in with three guys.
Oh, my God.
And, she's broken up, and she moves in with these three dorky bachelors, and comedy ensues because, they're all just so mismatched, and they're quirky and weird. And, of course, she's got a friend, just like Larry, just like Jack Tripper had Larry on Three's Company, right? I mean, there's definitely a Three's Company vibe going on here. So it's a fun show, 24 episodes, plus some pretty decent extras. It's, a couple of commentaries, 3 commentaries, actually, on the auditions and, how to dress like Jess, which is basically dressed like Zooey Deschanel's quirkiness. It's a lot of fun. It's really a lot of fun. I think there's a good future in store for that show. And then 90210, the 4th season. This is the resurrected 90210, which incredibly is another one of those CW shows that Mark was just ripping on. And they somehow, despite the unbelievably attractive cast, their personalities are so vapid that it's like water running through your fingers. You just don't. I mean, the original show is like just charisma central compared to this.
But that's the CW.
It's just
all it is it's just pretty people.
It's just runway models.
Yes, it's pretty people with very little personality who catfight over their boyfriends and fight over their girlfriends. That's it.
Whatever.
That's the CW.
All right. Well, we're into movies now, folks. And
wait, before we get into movies.
What? Yes? Huh? What?
Now, do you want butter on the cheese biscuit? By the way, I'm not giving you all this food because I'm generous or nice. I'm giving you all this food because in this class, you come home with so much food, I can't give it all away.
You want to give me butter on a cheese biscuit?
Why not?
You want to kill me?
Of course.
You want to kill me?
How about jelly?
No.
You just want a cheese biscuit?
Yeah, just give me a cheese biscuit. I don't want butter on it.
All right, let me check. You talk about Cinderella, some movie.
Yeah.
And then I'll go see if this cheese biscuit is warm enough.
All righty. Hey, the Diamond Edition of Disney's Cinderella is out, so grab it before it goes back in the vault. This is a Blu-ray and DVD combo edition that also includes, believe it or not, a short called Tangled Ever After, which is the whole Rapunzel thing. It's an animated short based on the movie Tangled that really kind of doesn't belong on this, but they threw it on anyway. You know what? As with all the rest of these Diamond Editions, it's beyond reproach. Disney has cranked it up a notch, and the amazing thing that they do here with the transfer is that if you think about Cinderella, Cinderella is kind of from that middle Disney animated period. It's not from the early Pinocchio, Dumbo, Snow White period. It's from that Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, kind of Bambi. Well, not even Bambi. It's you're getting into the Fox and the Hound and that kind of stuff. So it has more of that 50s vibe to it. And it's a very particular kind of color palette. It's a very particular way of approaching the artwork. And it's risky because when you digitize this stuff, when you transfer it, when you do all that digital tweaking, you run the risk of kind of canceling out all of the things that make it look the way that it needs to look. It suddenly won't look of its period anymore, and it may suddenly reveal a little bit too much of the artwork that was never intended to actually be caught on film. And so when you take all of that into account, it's really extraordinary the work that they do, because they manage to preserve all of that. Digital can be your friend or your enemy. And the look of this thing is just perfect, absolutely pristine, really nothing at all bad that you can say about it. The audio is equally pristine. It's a 7.1 DTS mix done specifically for this home release. And they've been doing this ever since they remixed The Lion King for the home environment, and they've got it down to a science. If you've got a 5.1 or a 7.1 setup at home, you'll just be completely immersed in this. It's absolutely beautiful. Not too much, not too little. And at the end of the day, you know what? It's Cinderella, for crying out loud. How do you even doubt not? I mean, come on, Cinderella.
The only thing better is Cinderfella.
Coach it. Oh, Cinderfella. Louis Armstrong show. Oh my gosh, it's the best. It's great.
Wade, Saturday morning at 10 a.m. they screened Frankenweenie, which is the new Tim Burton film.
Yeah, I know. I skipped it.
I skipped it too because after Dark Shadows, I've given up on Tim Burton. I just think it's over. This guy is just not a storyteller. He was never much of a storyteller except for Ed Wood, which I just absolutely adore that movie. Otherwise, he's just almost strictly a visualist, and he's really not much of a storyteller. I don't know that he ever really was, except for Ed Wood. But Ed Wood had a great script. John August writes most of Tim Burton's scripts right now. But anyway, Dark Shadows is just a dreary, unfunny, confused mess of a movie that has a third act that became even more confused, as if that was possible. And it's great to look at, and there are some charms in seeing Johnny Depp play Barnabas Collins, and he's 300 years old, and now he has to live in the modern world. But I just think this thing was a complete misfire. It's campy, and it's overproduced, and there's no one to root for, and everybody's strange. It's nice to see Michelle Pfeiffer back. She's so great.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I just I
have no connection to this. It's Dark Shadows in name only. It was a bad move from the beginning.
And actually, I don't know if John August even now that I think about it, I'm not sure if John August ever even took a swipe at this script. It was written by somebody else. But still, I just cannot recommend this less.
I hear you.
They say, I can't recommend this highly enough. The opposite would be, I can't recommend this less.
Yeah, I hear you.
It is Johnny. It is Dark Shadows. Now, it looks great on Blu-ray. And it's a combo pack. It's got the Blu-ray, the DVD, and the Ultraviolet. But the problem is you have to watch the movie. And that's just not good. And by the way, here's the thing with Eva Green. Now, Eva Green...
I liked Eva Green in
Star Wars?
No, the Ridley Scott thing, Kingdom of Heaven. Kingdom of Heaven, yeah.
The thing with Eva Green, obviously she's a beautiful woman. There's no doubt about it. But I'm just talking movie-wise.
Yeah, sure.
Sometimes she looks... drop dead gorgeous.
Yeah.
And sometimes she has this funky mouth that makes it look kind of goofy.
Yeah.
And in Ed...
she just ate a caterpillar.
Yes.
I know what you mean.
Just like that.
Yes.
And in Dark Shadows, she looked kind of gorgeous.
Right.
But had that kind of goofy look going on.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which...
Like there's a millipede stuck in her teeth.
I know
what you're talking about.
Totally a millipede.
That's it.
I don't know which one she is in real life. All I know is that she's gorgeous. But she does have that weird little thing going on. Anyway, Dark Shadows pass.
Groovy. All right, and this is the Luc Besson doesn't direct a lot of movies anymore, and he's just like Mr. Mogul. He just sits around with Robert Mark Kamen, who wrote The Karate Kid, and they crank out these things these martial arts, the action things that they shoot in Paris in English, and it's like it's just over and over and over. And Taken is the only series that ever really had any juice to it. But once in a while, Luc Besson will get behind the camera again and do something that is very slick and very professional and very tasteful and very kind of Oscar begging, like The Lady. And then it's undone by the fact that, well, it's a little bit too saccharine, and on top of that, it was obsolete the second that it was released. The Lady stars Michelle Yeoh as Aung San Suu Kyi, the famous Nobel-winning civil rights and human rights activist from Burma, otherwise known as Myanmar, which it has been for decades under the control of the junta that is run by the people who, of course, originally assassinated her father, who was once a great leader in the country. And all of that is detailed in this rather tepid but very nicely done biopic with David Thewlis, very, very good as her husband. And the problem being that once the movie ends, now we all know that change has happened, and Aung San Suu Kyi has been let out of the country again, and she's met with Hillary Clinton. And it's almost like the stuff that has happened since the movie was released is more dramatic than what's in the movie. It's like the movie is the first two acts, and the third act has been, the last 7 or 8 months of news. It's very distressing that they just could not hold their horses and wait until an appropriate time to tell this story, because it's part of the story. It's not the whole story.
It's almost like the Nelson Mandela story.
It's frustrating, exactly.
I don't know
But anyway,
why I
that
said
being
that.
said, Aung San Suu Kyi's life has plenty of great episodes in it, and Michelle Yeoh is a very good actress. She's not just a great martial artist, and she's the right person to play this part. Again, a little too saccharine, a little too on the nose, a little too sentimental, but it's generally well done. Unfortunately, the story continues even now. Annie was a big deal when it was released. A lot of people might not remember this, and this just seems ridiculous now. When Annie was released, Columbia Pictures tried to nudge movie ticket prices up from $5 to $6, and didn't work. People revolted, and they were forced to drop the price again. It was probably the only time in history I can think of that somebody tried a ticket increase, and audiences were able to revolt and change their mind. Audiences haven't done that in a long time, and I'd love for them to do it again. This is the 30th anniversary Blu-ray release, sing-along edition, be very scared, of Annie, directed by none other than the great John Huston, father of Danny Huston, who we talked about a second ago and whom we normally can't stand. John Huston was not the right director for this project. It's shot too close, and it's just kind of a mess all throughout. It's a lovely musical with great songs that's just not very well executed as a movie. Also, this may be the last musical produced by Ray Stark, I think. Wouldn't it be?
Ooh, interesting.
Before he died?
Which
And that's Ray Stark, who, of course, kind of got his musical cred producing Funny Girl for Broadway and then for the movies, because Fanny Brice was his aunt. But Ray Stark, very kind of...
that was the last musical he did.
Yep. Very
He
incendiary.
produced Steel Magnolias.
Yeah, but no more musicals.
And no more musicals.
That was it. That was the swan song of the Ray Stark, Ray Star musical era.
Which do you think is the weirder director-movie pairing? John Huston directing Annie, or Robert Altman directing Popeye?
I am actually...
And I love Popeye. I love that
know.
movie.
I'm going to say neither of them. I'm going to say Sidney Lumet doing The Wiz. Beats them
Oh,
both.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
And Norman Jewison doing Jesus Christ Superstar is not far off either.
Yeah. And he also did Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah, but that's a good movie.
Yeah, but he
Fiddler on
did
the Roof's a
Fiddler
great movie.
and Jesus Christ Superstar?
Yeah.
What's this guy?
I don't know.
Is there is he going to do the Book of Mormon movie too?
No.
Well, he hit every religion until he hits them all?
I'll drive over to his house and ask him.
Is that right?
Yeah, I know where he lives.
Really?
Yeah, because I moderated an event with him and I had to go pick up his book. Anyway, so the 30th anniversary edition of Annie, it comes with Ultraviolet. Not that matters a whole lot. I gotta say, Columbia, Sony, they kind of phoned this one in. They didn't really. I think they knew that they had a movie that no one's really going to complain about if it's not just an absolute A-list title. So they made it a sing-along edition, kind of phoned it in on the transfer, and threw Ultraviolet on it. And I guess they figure that's going to get them through the door, and it probably will. So if you're a huge fan of it, you won't care about all the deficiencies. And the sing-along thing is, I guess it's fine for kids. Not a lot by way of extras, though. That's it.
Wait, a couple more movie things to talk about. This is kind of an overlooked film. I have to say, I was predisposed to hate this thing. This is a movie called People Like Us, and the reason why I was predisposed to hate it is because it was written by Alex Kurtzman and Roberto Orci, and directed by Kurtzman.
I know it's like this is they're trying to go serious after all of the schlocky, big budget, crappy, twisty,
Transformers-y, Star Trek-y things.
Yeah.
But I thought this movie was very sincere, and it felt like it was. You know what I liked about this movie? It's about a guy who Chris Pine plays a guy who. He's like this fast-talking guy, and he learns that like this horrible deal that like his whole life was based on this business deal going through. It collapses on the same day he learns his father died, so he's got to go back home to take care of his affairs, and he winds up dealing with his sister. It's with Chris Pine, Elizabeth Banks, Olivia Wilde, Jon Favreau, Michelle Pfeiffer. And what I liked about this movie is that I feel like. It was written by somebody. I feel like it was written with sincerity and with a guy who had something to say, and he was able to say it. And even though it's a little bit, it can be mawkish at times. I mean, it's definitely a dramedy. It's a character piece, and the thing is that people aren't really much into character pieces anymore. That's why a lot of people were bored with it. But I thought it was very affectionate. I thought the relationships were compelling and they made sense. And you know what? I kind of dug it. It's kind of an overlooked film. People Like Us. It's on Blu-ray. It's good stuff. Anyway, okay. There's that. Now Jennifer Lynch.
Oh boy.
Jennifer Lynch.
I recuse myself.
Why is that, Wade?
Because I don't know Jennifer per se. I've met her many times, but we have many friends in common. So I recuse myself from any commentary on this title.
Yeah, Jennifer Lynch is the daughter of the other Lynch, David Lynch.
Jennifer also did Boxing Helena.
Yeah,
which you just do. That film is off limits conversation topic anywhere in the Lynch family.
Oh, really?
Which I think is sad because I think Boxing Helena is fabulous.
You do not.
I do. When she gets in the middle of the street and for no reason that truck comes peeling around the corner and then mows her over and you get that great shot of the wheels going over the legs. Boom, 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 boom. I love it.
Out of your mind.
Right.
Anyway,
people don't understand how intentionally funny that movie is. Anyway, carry on.
People would think that Chained was like just like another one of those like kind of torture porny films if it wasn't directed by David Lynch's daughter. It's a bizarre film that has a cast better than it deserves. Here's this thing with Chained, and it's really just as twisted as any other film you would imagine Jennifer Lynch doing. It's about this kid and his mother, and they're picked up by this crazy cab driver played by Vincent D'Onofrio from Full Metal Jacket.
And Law and Order.
And stuff happens that I won't say, and then eventually the boy and the cab driver sort of go off together and have this crazy murder spree that the kid helps with. And that's all I'm going to say because I don't want to give away too much. But it is definitely an intense film. It is very well shot. It is very brutal.
Jennifer has talent.
The thing is that but here's the thing, though. What she does is she gives you disturbing, brutal images, but I don't know what they're in the service of necessarily. Mm-hmm. Now, they're not as bad, again, as torture porn because there's much more style here, but it is just very claustrophobic and very bleak and very bloody. But, I'd give it a whirl just because it's Jennifer Lynch. And Jennifer Lynch does an audio commentary, as does D'Onofrio, which is nice. You can tell that Vincent D'Onofrio, who didn't have to do this movie, he's got plenty of money now based on TV. Not only did he star in the film, but he also did the audio commentary.
I thoroughly enjoy Vincent D'Onofrio. I did a press day with him once for a movie that actually never came out, never even got released on DVD.
You know why? Because you did the press day.
Nah, it's fascinating. It's a whole kind of point of view experiment. But anyway, he's just a really interesting guy. I got a bunch of movies here this week. This week is like self-discovery week. People going off on journeys of self-discovery. It's unbelievable. There's just a ton of these. And I'm going to blow through them really quickly because they're all part of the same category. October Baby. Rachel Hendricks is essentially this, and she's a very good actress. I'm relatively unfamiliar with her, but she's a really sharp young lady who is about to kind of, make some very, very big career and life choices. She's in college, and then there's this family discovery that pushes her off on her journey of self-discovery into a road trip, and it's it's a decent little movie.
Wait a second, no one
What?
cares about the decent little movie. Now, here's the thing with the cheese
Oh,
biscuit
boy.
I've just given. Now, I had to
my
cut it in
gosh.
half to so that it would heat up faster, but
Okay.
because we're almost done with the show.
Yeah.
But here, this is a cheese biscuit.
And you're going to make me eat at least one bite of the cheese biscuit on the air.
Yes, because I want your unfettered opinion as to whether it's a good cheese biscuit or not. Mm-hmm. And you are going to tell me that it is a good one or a bad one.
Oh, that's good. It is.
See?
That's good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to be finishing that after the show.
See, you were ready to hate. You were ready to say something snarky.
I was ready to say it tastes like a
Hockey puck or something like that.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. I was going to say like a coaster, but maybe I'll put my glass on it. Our next journey of self-discovery is Greta Gerwig in Lola Versus. Not bad. Greta Gerwig is not an actress who has always sort of endeared herself to me, but in this one, her journey of self-discovery begins not from some life discovery, but when she is dumped just 3 weeks before her wedding. And bang, there she goes. Now she's on a journey of self-discovery. Very nicely done, actually. Normally I get very cynical about these films, but this is nicely written, nicely executed, and some decent extras here, especially a Fox Movie Channel featurette and a Fox Movie Channel thing on the world premiere. All very nice. So, and then on the downside of the self-discovery stuff is the magic of Belle Isle, which is... I don't know. I wanted to like this so much more than I did. I mean, you expect more when you got Morgan Freeman, and he brings a certain amount of expectation. And then Virginia Madsen, we still remember how great she was in Sideways, and she brings expectation, and it just doesn't really work. Morgan Freeman is a cranky Western novelist, kind of like a Louis L'Amour type, and he's his career is sort of his life is in a bad place, and he goes to this little place, Belle Isle, where he's recovering from some health issues, and I won't
Meth addict.
Yeah, kind of. Anyway,
He's
and
not a meth
Virginia Madsen is a single mom who has these kids that sort of, her daughters basically melt his horrible Grinchian heart and open him up again. And it's it's sweet on a lot of levels. The girls are not great actresses; they're kind of overactors. And Virginia Madsen should be better, and Morgan Freeman, frankly, should be a lot less saccharine. The thing that is most disappointing is this, my friend, was directed by Rob Reiner.
I know.
And you
was
just
a day.
go, oh my gosh.
There was once a day.
There was once a day. And it's like, that's the thing. It's like, I can accept that these actors are maybe doing this as a payday in the movie, whatever. But when you consider that Rob Reiner, man, he should know better. He's not the guy he used to be. I don't know what it is. He's just gotten soft.
Either he's gotten soft or he's not getting offered the material that he wants. Because the thing, look, here's the thing, though. What people have to remember is that if you're an actor on one of these movies, you're working for... Like, Morgan Freeman probably worked for, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks on this
something
movie?
like that.
If you're the director, you're on that thing for,
I know.
a year.
I know.
2 years
Yeah.
for a big film.
Yeah.
So it's a huge commitment to get one of those things done, whereas opposed to the actors, they show up for a few weeks, they're done.
True.
So for Rob Reiner to want to, I can see Morgan Freeman wanting to say, yeah, I'll do it, why not? We're buddies.
Here's the only thing that kind of redeems this a little bit. All three of them do the audio commentary. And I have to say, when you listen to Morgan Freeman and Virginia Madsen and Rob Reiner give you the sales pitch on this movie, I almost felt guilty for not liking it. I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, you really do like it that much. Wow. Maybe I'll give it another shot. And then I remembered what I thought of it, and I was like, no, not going to happen. Anyway, it's on Blu-ray from Magnolia. The movie, though, of all these self-discovery movies, this is the one, man. This is the one that just nails it. The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel, one of the big hits of the year. A tremendous home run for Fox Searchlight. This was the counter-programming triumph of the summer. All these big blockbustery movies that barely eked out a net profit, just, in spite of all of their huge budgets and their huge marketing outlays. They were all just way too expensive. But Best Exotic Marigold Hotel is a bona fide hit. This thing made over $100 million around the world. It is a gigantic hit. Might wind up being the most profitable film of the year. This or Moonrise Kingdom. It'll be or The Untouchables, the French film. It'll be a tough call between those three. Basically, this is about a bunch of shall we say senior English and British individuals who wind up at this dilapidated Indian hotel thinking that it's actually a better place than it is, all for a variety of reasons. Some are there just to revisit India, like Maggie Smith is the funniest. Again, Maggie Smith of Downton Abbey. She's this cranky, racist British lady who's only there because it's the only place she can get a timely and affordable surgery. And she is just outrageously funny. Tom Wilkinson grew up in India, and he's there for some mysterious reason. Maggie Smith Judi Dench has lost her husband, and she's trying to sort of reinvent her life. Bill Nye is in it as well. It's just great. Dev Patel from Slumdog Millionaire plays the guy who runs the hotel, who inherited it from his father, who's trying to make a go of it. It's just a wonderful movie about people who are brought together through circumstances other than what they may have planned, and whose lives just take a wonderful turn for the better in most cases. And in others, it's a turn not for the better, but for the more honest. It is a terrific movie. One of the really just great movies of the year.
Also, the most important thing about the film is that I believe, despite this one here, I believe that is the first screener we got.
Yes, you're right.
Exotic Marigold is the first screener we got of the year. Now, Wade and I are a member of LAFCA, and so it is becoming that time of the year. Now, the smart distributors, the smart studios, will start sending you screeners now, because by November, it's going to be a cluster F watching all these films. And there are a couple of smart distributors, including Tribeca just sent Booker's Place, which I don't know what that is, but we'll check it out. But the first one we got was the DVD. Now, this is not the DVD that we get through our normal channels. This is the DVD for the Exotic Marigold Hotel.
Very nice.
A movie I thoroughly hated is Damsels in Distress. Now, this thing was pretty well received, and I just do not get. This thing is just so mannered and so overwritten and so on a wavelength that is just indecipherable and so confused. And I just did not like this thing at all. I thought it was a piece of junk. And it pains me to say that because it is the return of Whit Stillman, who was an Oscar-nominated screenwriter, did a bunch of films in the 90s, and then kind of disappeared. And his muse in this one is Greta Gerwig, who we just talked about. And, Greta Gerwig does her Greta Gerwig thing. And I just found this movie, which is about a bunch of girls who are at a college, and they're trying to kind of, attract guys and all the problems they come up with in college. And, I guess there's a moment here or there, but I just think this thing was so completely up its own butt. I just really disliked it.
It was what?
Up its own butt.
Okay, that's what I thought you said.
What did you think I said?
No, that's what I thought you said. I just want to make sure I heard you correctly.
Anyway, the movie, the Blu-ray that is, includes deleted scenes, outtakes. There's a behind-the-scenes making of, which is not that insightful. Commentary with Whit Stillman, which is good, whatever. And there you go. I just could not have disliked this film more. I just think if you like, you know what it is? It's almost like Wes Anderson to me. Mm-hmm. He took everything Wes Anderson is.
Yes, Whit Stillman is not.
Stretched himself a little bit more.
Right.
And made Moonrise Kingdom.
There you go.
Which I love. Because that is one of the best coming-of-age romances I've ever seen. It's so good. It's everything Wes Anderson is, but he adds characters you really kind of care about and a realistic love story. That's not arch, and he knocked it out of the park. Here you get Whit Stillman, who can be just as mannered.
Right on, brother.
And he just tanked it. I just thought this thing was terrible. Now, again, I'm in the minority. I think this thing got like an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes or something.
Yeah,
you know what? They're all wrong.
Yeah, well.
The movie sucks.
And we're going to wrap out with two movies that sort of speak to this bizarre parental anxiety that's sweeping Hollywood right now. I guess as the more kids that Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt have, that all the people in Hollywood now are suddenly feeling like in order to keep up, to be hip, to be trendy, they've got to have kids. And they're having all kinds of anxiety about it. So we got two movies that speak to that. The lesser one is called The Babymakers. I don't know who comes up with this stuff. Jay Chandrasekhar, who does all of those horrible Broken Lizard. Oh, gosh. Well, he directed it, and he's also in it. And this is a horrible, stupid movie. Paul Schneider, who's just such a good actor. I mean, Paul Schneider is a really good actor. I don't know why he would do this, but he's a guy, basically, who is trying to have a baby with his wife and realizes that he's probably shooting blanks, so he creates like this heist plan to go to the sperm bank that he once contributed to with some buddies and break in and get the good stuff out. It's just stupid. There's some behind the scenes stuff and some featurette stuff, and it's just a really lackluster Blu-ray, I gotta tell you. A little bit more acceptable, just because it has a good cast, is What to Expect When You're Expecting. Now, the book What to Expect When You're Expecting is not a novel. It's literally a book about what goes on throughout a pregnancy, and it's just I don't know who read that and thought, you know what? I'll bet there's a movie in this. There's a movie in what, biology? That's all it is.
I know, it's just another. You know, look, it's one of those. It's one of the lamer examples of studios greenlighting a pre-existing property.
That's it.
Well, anyway, a marketing hook.
The title apparently
it's the book, except it's a movie.
There you go. Well, anyway, you've got Brooklyn Decker, Elizabeth Banks, Cameron Diaz, Jennifer Lopez, all basically doing a very phony pregnant bit in this, but it's not just egregiously horrible. I mean, it's got its moments. Dennis Quaid and Chris Rock, and the guys in this have they keep things afloat, and it's a light, fluffy cast. And even if the whole thing just feels totally manufactured and completely constructed, it's okay. It'll pass the time, and it won't completely drive you bananas.
You know what? They should put that on the DVD box.
It'll pass the time, and it won't drive you bananas. Also, very thin on the special features end, but it's a decent Blu-ray transfer. It comes with a digital copy and ultraviolet as well. So it's that one. I'd say if you have to pick one to satisfy your baby making and pregnancy anxiety, pick that one and skip the Babymakers. If you need to get to us by email or send us a Vox box, by all means, please do. You can email us at gods@digigods.com. That's gods@digigods.com. We'll take emails. We'll take Vox box recordings, any sound format, and we'll be back next week.
You know what? And the week after that.
And the week after that.
Just to spite you.
And now I'm going to finish off what's this called, Mark?
It's called a cheesy biscuit?
Cheesy biscuit.